Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Windowswear Live. My name is Jolene Mujica. I'm the head of trends and tours at Windowswear. We're going to go ahead and take a look at our weekly news in the retail world. So let's start with Louboutin, Christian Louboutin. And with Louboutin, can the Agnellis take on European luxury? So, with this minority stake in Christian Louboutin and a majority stake in Shanghai, the emblematic Agnelli family signals ambition in luxury goods, but lots of work lies ahead. Exor, which is the holding company owned by Europe's Agnelli family, announced Monday that it took a 24% stake in Christian Louboutin in a deal that values the French brand most famous for its signature red bottom soled stilettos at $2.25 billion. The $541 million investment will serve the brand's expansion, particularly in China and online, the company said, and the acquisition could also establish the Agnellis, which own the Fiat empire, as a luxury family force alongside the Arnaults or the Penalts. As a family controlled holding company founded in 1924, Exor is a solid and trusted partner to consolidate Louboutin's long-term growth. Now, luxury M&A activity is expected to pick up this year in the wake of the pandemic, and according to analysts, the Christian Louboutin deal could kick off the consolidation momentum. Luxury continues to be a priority for international investors. The sector's shiny stars continue to raise funds at very ambitious valuation levels. Now, let's take a look at some retail math and see just how that's going. So Christian Louboutin has, or rather footwear, both luxury and casual, appears to have some wind in its sails finally. The Arnault family's investment company alongside L. Catterton, the private equity firm backed by the LVMH, recently became majority shareholders of German footwear brand Birkenstock as a part of a deal that values Birkenstock at $4 billion. Now, this came after the listing of bootmaker Doc Martens, whose value has surged to $4.9 billion. Christian Louboutin has remained independent for its 30 years leading up to this Agnelli acquisition. Louboutin is at the top of mind is a top of mind iconic brand in luxury footwear that has proven its ability to extend from the core business of heels into flats, sneakers, men's shoes, and even into the beauty world. Now, women's shoes still represent the lion's share of the Louboutin business, while men's shoes are about 31% and accessories are coming in at about 12%. Spanish group Puig, who owns its beauty licensing, consists of their nail polishes, makeups, and fragrances, and transitioning to ready-to-wear can be very challenging for shoe labels, but the brand has undeniable opportunities to scale in China. Christian Louboutin counts about 150 stores and 450 points of sales worldwide, but only 15 of those stores are in China, which include 2 shop-in-shops. Asia represents 18% of sales or represented 18% of sales in 2020, with China representing less than 10%, while the United States represented 42%, and in Europe, 40%. Overall, sales, of course, were down between 10 and 20% in 2020 because of the pandemic, according to the company. And as before, Louboutin is carefully considering other potential categories, provided that they're in line with the house's creative personality and power. Let's take a look at this graph, which explains just how successful the women's shoes have been doing. Now, luxury looks like a very attractive industry to outsiders as it offers very high growth and return on invested capital to those who are dominating it, of course, right? The key to success is to be able to bring these key competences and skills like access to the markets, media, landlords, talent, and Exor's ambition will need to be gauged against that, right? Exor's experience in the Chinese market could help Christian Louboutin to scale. In December of 2020, Exor invested $80 million in Shanghai, taking a majority stake. Now, the Chinese brand launched in 2010 by the Hermes Group, with founder Jiang Kuoyer, sells furniture, ready-to-wear, leather goods, and jewelry. After Hermes chose to refocus its portfolio, the deal resulted in an $80 million profit for the French group, with Hermes remaining a minority shareholder alongside Shangjiang. Now, their stores include stores in Shanghai, Beijing, Shenzhen, Paris, with new stores slated to open this coming year. The rest of Exor's portfolio includes companies in the automotive industry, Ferrari, CNH Industrial, Stellantis, Reassurance, and Media, and football clubs throughout the world. Exor also sets its sights on tech, allocating $100 million to invest in tech startups through a venture called Exor Seeds. As a first step, it took a stake in 2020 in the US-based share mobility company Via Transportation. It's still too early to assess Exor's ability to succeed in the luxury fashion sector, but the firm guided Ferrari's successful IPO in 2015, which quadrupled brand shares. But luxury cars and shoes have vastly different business models. Bernard emphasizes pointing to investment and production cycles, consumption cycles, and of course, price point. Now, whether or not through Exor the Agnelli family can rival the established groups remains to be seen, but there's plenty of work ahead. Scale and M&A considerations are embedded in the sector as a recurring theme. When discussing with the key premium malls in China and the United States, Louboutin and Exor believes that it is better to be a part of LVMH, Kering, or Richmond than to be solo. Let's go ahead and move on and take a look at what is going on over at Louis Vuitton. So Louis Vuitton, their store has had a bit of a renewal. So let's go ahead and take a look on inside to see what that looks like. So after a 3-year construction period, Louis Vuitton has regained their flagship store on the upscale Ginza shopping district in Tokyo. It's a location that it has held for the past 40 years. They are officially opening their doors on Saturday, March 20th, which was just this past Saturday, and the result was nothing short of an architectural stunner, according to Jun Aoki, a lauded architect based in the Japanese capital and longtime collaborator of Louis Vuitton. Spanning 7 floors alongside Namiki Dori, the monolithic structure is entirely covered in a shimmering glass facade, which draws clues from the reflections of water as a material phenomenon, and as such, it magically shifts color during the day or when looked at from different angles. For the store's interior, Louis Vuitton called upon another longtime acclaimed collaborator, New York City-based architect Peter Marino. A double-height cutout with floor-to-ceiling glass marks the entrance, allowing passerbys a generous peek of the alluring interior, which includes this monumental swirling staircase crafted from oak and glass. Let's go ahead and take a look at that beautiful staircase. Here you can see that. Now, the chosen water theme inspired the fact that the store's location once formed part of a peninsula jutting into the Tokyo Bay. It's reflected throughout the premises by way of smooth, undulating surfaces, from the glass facade to the feature staircase, furniture pieces and fixtures, all included. Of the flagship store's 7 floors, 4 are dedicated to retail. The ground floor presents women's leather goods, watches, and jewelry, and the permanent pop-in space, in addition to women's leather goods, as well as accessories, travel, and fragrances, are located on the 2nd floor. Here we can see that beautiful staircase again. Now, the women's collections include ready-to-wear and shoes, which extend across the 3rd floor. 1 floor up, the men's domain can be found here. Here, the full men's collection is presented. For Louis Vuitton, most distinguished clientele who wish to power shop away from prying eyes, 2 swanky private salons are readily available on the 6th floor. Now, the various settings are dotted with a carefully curated artwork and design pieces which aim to elevate the shopping experiences and include paintings by Kamiko Fujimura and furnishings by Stefan Leo. The top floor is home to Le Café V, an exclusive eatery supervised by Yusoki Suga. Louis Vuitton's first collaborated with the celebrated Japanese chef on the Louis Vuitton Maison in Osaka, which opened last year and featured the luxury brand's very first hospitality venture. So this is their second venture into that in Japan. But it's certainly that not all. Here, Le Chocolat V, Louis Vuitton's hotly anticipated new chocolate brand, will make its world debut at the end of next month. Now, the flagship store obviously carries the brand's full range of women and men's collections, in addition to a range of exclusive items, which include limited re-edition of the CDG, the Comme des Garçons, creative director Rei Kawakaba's monogram collaborative bag from 2014 with Louis Vuitton, the LV Ollie sneakers embellished with embroidery and pearls, and a fully embroidered monogram sequin dress, and a slim tambour watch accented with blue and purple sequins. So very, very limited and very exclusive. We can see the men's floor, the private lounge. Absolutely beautiful design. Let's move on over to see what's going on over at Burberry. So Burberry has launched a virtual store in partnership with L Digital Japan. So mirroring the physical Burberry Ginza store, the virtual space is built over 3 floors. The ground floor offers signature bags, including the Olympia, the Pocket, and the Lola bags. The first floor offers a selection of women's wear from key outerwear, including the Waterloo and Kensington trench coats, and Honey and Camden Fit car coats in black, updated with graffiti logo details, to pieces from the Spring-Summer 2021 collection, including a marine sketch print t-shirt, a lightweight hooded jacket highlighted with a check pattern, and an oversized hoodie updated with horse fairy print. Now the second floor, let's go ahead and take a look at that. The second floor, menswear outerwear, includes the Pimlico car coat, the horse fairy print nylon coat, both in black and spring-summer 2021 styles, and an olive fish scale print silk twill short sleeve shirt with graphic appliques and a deep orange horse fairy hood print. Now Burberry and L Digital Japan have also collaborated with actress Eliza Akita to create 5 short styling tip films, which are accessible at touch points throughout the virtual store. The virtual store experience will be available for 1 month, starting on March 19th, so a couple days ago, all the way till April 18th on L Japan and L Girl Digital Japan. Access to the virtual store can be found at burberry/ginza.com. Now, the Burberry Ginza store, which opened back in November of 2019, took its inspiration from the spirit and attitude of the fashion house's redesigned flagship store, 121 Regent Street in London. The store, of course, features a pistachio-colored facade, a color palette of Burberry's beige and pistachio throughout its interior and fixtures, and a variety of materials and textures from mirror to high gloss finishes. So that does it for Burberry. So they have gone virtually. Burberry is certainly pushing the envelope when it comes to in-store experiences and the sort of fusion of online and offline. Let's take a look at a resurrection. So retail resurrection, Lord & Taylor has relaunched as an e-commerce arm. So Lord & Taylor will re-emerge, of course, this April as a website only under new ownership, and yet another revival of a liquidated retailer. So back in October of back in October, Sadia Group LLC bought Lord & Taylor and its parent company, Louboutin, for $12 million through a bankruptcy auction. Louboutin and Lord & Taylor, impacted by the pandemic, went bankrupt in August of 2020, and the Lord & Taylor stores were liquidated by the end of February 2021. Now, Lord & Taylor has a deep history that spans 195 years in New York City and a tradition of innovation and countless fashion firsts, says Jack Sadia, principal and co-founder of the Sadia Group. They're very excited to build the future of the brand and expand the loyal community and show the world what exactly is next. Now, they've pulled together a full team, which includes 40 merchants, IT workers, operations, and finance executives for Lord & Taylor. We picked up people from the old company and from Bloomingdale's, Century 21, and Saks Fifth Avenue, and we are interviewing for a president. He said that the Lord & Taylor e-commerce website will launch mid-April, initially selling men's and women's fashion, beauty, skincare, fragrance, and home. He declined to specify any specific brands. In the second quarter of 2021, children's wear, fashion accessories, and footwear will be added to the offering. Now, Lord & Taylor was a struggling company in its later years, bogged down by ownership and management changes, insufficient investments to modernize the business, and a reputation of sort of being an older store, right? But the e-commerce was not losing money. It was a great business, in fact, with a few $100 million in sales. The store component was what was draining the business, the brick and mortar. Now, he is not adverse to reopening Lord & Taylor stores. We've been studying to see how to recreate a new brick and mortar Lord & Taylor experience, perhaps a smaller footprint, not 100,000 or even 200,000 square feet. It wouldn't probably be until a year or two from now before we could even delve into that, but it most likely will be in a large urban area on the East Coast where the store has performed at its best, such as New York City or Long Island. Some top performing Lord & Taylor stores were also Manhasset, Garden City, and Eastchester, New York. Now, a month before the Louboutin and Lord & Taylor deal, the Sadia Group bought the e-commerce business of RTW Retail Winds Inc., which includes New York & Company, and Fashion to Figure, which specializes in extended sizes. RTW Retail Winds also went bankrupt and liquidated its New York & Company and Fashion to Figure stores, though the Sadia Group has kept the New York & Company and Fashion to Figure e-commerce operating. There are many businesses that have been weighed down by the legacy of huge leases and underperforming stores, right? The company relatively has maintained a low profile through all of this, though that is changing with its recent acquisitions and its recent plans. Now, Lord & Taylor was founded in 1826 as America's first department store and it is the latest in what's been a string of retail revivals recently, right? Retail brands that shut down due to bankruptcies or pandemic performances are being swooped up and resurrected as direct-to-consumer websites because of the seismic shifts by consumers towards shopping online more often and less often in malls and brick-and-mortar stores. It's also quicker and less costly to launch a website than it is to open a brick and mortar store, though not necessarily as profitable. Generally, the best formula for success in retailing is to become multi-channel or omni-channel. Dress Barn, which liquidated in 2019 and was purchased by Retail E-commerce Ventures, REV, is now operating as a website. REV has quickly compiled a portfolio of retail nameplates that went bankrupt due to the pandemic or other reasons in 2019 and 2020, and their portfolio includes Models, Linens and Things, Steinmart, Pier 1, and Radio Shack, which have all been relaunched as website-only operations. Now, Century 21 department stores are coming back after going bankrupt last year and liquidating all of their stores. During the bankruptcy process, the Ginza family, which owned, operated, and founded the famous off-price chain, brought back the IP in November for $9 million, together with a silent partner. Its first step will be to open a 100,000 square foot store in Busan, South Korea in late summer of 2021. After Korea, the next move could be to restart e-commerce with a social media strategy implemented in the meantime. Barney's New York completed its liquidation last year as well, and its intellectual property, or IP, was bought by Authentic Brands Group, which licensed the Barney's name to Saks Fifth Avenue. The Saks flagship in Manhattan operates a Barney's at Saks department, and there is a Barney's at Saks freestanding store operating in Greenwich, Connecticut. So that does it for our retail news for today. Let's go ahead and take a look at some of our members' projects. As always, if you are a Windowswear member, please make sure that your profile is completely filled out and that you are uploading your projects so you can be featured. Over at Harley Quinn Design, they are working with Levi's, the Levi's Times Square, New York City flagship, and Market Street flagship in San Francisco. They have designed their stores perfect and beautiful just in time for spring. Over at Arsenal, New York is working on the newest addition to New York City, a brand new Manolo Blahnik. So Manolo Blahnik is coming back into town, and Arsenal is currently working on this project. This will be opening in the spring of this year. And Ultra Frontiera Preghetti has worked with Bali and Beijing. So let's go ahead and take a look at that work. So fantastic job. Thank you so much to our Windowswear members who are always submitting their beautiful work. And we're going to go ahead and end as always. I know it is currently spring break, but if you are on social media and you are a student and you are listening to us currently, it is time for our mentorship program. So if you are a Windowswear student, this is for you. The mentorship program this year, Windowswear has collaborated with Coach, Kate Spade, and Michael Kors. You can win a summer 2021 internship. The project for Coach and Kate Spade is the Store of the Future. All right. The challenge is the Store of the Future. Coach and Kate Spade are providing eligible students with an opportunity to create and submit a 360-degree creative project considering the evolution of the store experience and imagining what the store of the future would look like. For Michael Kors is celebrating their 40th year anniversary, and they are reimagining their store in a healthy world. So the objective of this contest is to take Michael's vision and combine it with the company's goal to drive positive environment and social changes, keeping in mind the impact of the operations that can have on the environment as well as the well-being of others. So these three fantastic brands are working with Windowswear to offer students internships and prizes. All of the information that you need is on our Windowswear page, windowswear.com/mentorship. That includes the eligibility requirements, the prizes, the judging, and all of the submission requirements that are needed for students. So please check that out. That does it for me. As always, have a fantastic afternoon, and we will see you next week.